Hi, and congratulations on completing week 7, interpreting wisdom texts in the Old Testament. I really appreciate all the hard work, and of those that I have graded so far, the grades have been pretty good, but I wanted to make a couple of notes on how I graded and what I was looking for. None of this is new. As you've come to know, the things that I look for in a assignment are similar between each, but for our first, we're comparing wisdom literature while the teaching of Amenope, or while reading, keep an eye out for parallels and similarities. You were to find three similarities and three differences between them. So as I looked at it, I wanted a discussion of the historical context, the date, the history, how the dating of them is similar and really different, and why there might be a connection between the two cultures in that Egypt and Israel had such a close relationship. And then a role of wisdom in the ancient Near East. That again took some outside research to be able to complete. I wanted to see your examples. I wanted to see evidence of some outside research, and I wanted to see some personal reflection on how understanding ancient Near Eastern wisdom literature impacts our ability to better understand the Bible. So those were the key things that I was looking for. For the most part, folks did a pretty good job. On this one as well, not many notes. Obtaining wisdom, you were to read Proverbs 1 to 8 carefully, and then write a 1 to 2 page paper answering the following question. What lessons should we learn about, and what should we do to obtain wisdom? So I was really looking for a paper that says, how do we obtain wisdom? How do we keep wisdom? And then a conclusion that might talk about what are the benefits of having wisdom. To do that, I wanted you to rely heavily on Proverbs and giving me some evidence of that. In looking at the idea of wisdom, you might have included a word study or at least a theme study on where else wisdom is discussed in the Old Testament or the New Testament. And then some outside research from a commentary or a paper on Proverbs that talks about obtaining wisdom. So that's what I was looking for there. And then finally, evaluating modern wisdom. One of the main questions in the book of Job is how a just God could exist when suffering is so common on earth. There were a few things I was looking for in the discussions. First key is to review the speeches of the friends who give conventional wisdom. So I wanted you to look at the three speeches, which are the bulk of the book, and talk about how the conventional understanding of wisdom is what they're saying to Job. And yet that is exactly not what is going on. So the idea here, which was echoed in your reading, is that Job is a kind of a cautionary tale against the rest of wisdom literature. Because the rest, especially in Proverbs, the Proverbs teach us of a very orderly world, one that supports this idea of Deuteronomistic theology, that good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. And yet here we have Job that says, wait a minute, that is generally true, but bad things happen to good people as well. And so we have to be cautious before we say to someone, well, you've done something and that's why these bad things are happening in your life. What the three friends did that was great, and a few of you mentioned this, is their first move is to come and just be with Job. And that really is the right answer, that just coming quietly alongside someone who is suffering is a great first step to supporting them. Opening your mouth, however, is a wrong second step, and that's where these friends go off. So then I wanted you to review chapter 38 on God's response. Job came to the realization of his own limitations before the omniscient Lord. Because humans are limited in their knowledge and understanding, they, like Job, must learn to trust God for what they do not and cannot comprehend. So we have to, really understand that God is greater than us. His purposes are not always revealed to us. and we need to respond with that in mind. Job understands in the end that God is sovereign. I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. Now, some of you, I asked that question, do you think that Job actually gets it? And what I was looking for in your response was alluding to Job 42, verse 2, saying that yes, Job does get it, because he says, now I understand that you can do all things and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. God can and will do whatever he sees fit. It is not our job to question him. It is our job to trust him. Now, I would say that Job is not really slapped around too much for complaining. And I think that that is one of the lessons we can get from Job, as well as many other texts. God wants us to come to him in our sorrow, in our ministry, our misery, and in our pain, and reach out to him honestly. And we're not going to be rebuffed for that. That our honest crying out in pain to or even against God is what God wants to hear, and he'll respond to us. So, last thoughts, don't forget to complete your course evaluations. They are critical to Moody as we move forward. Call me or email me first and then schedule a time to call me if you have any questions, or email me any questions that you might have. I've really enjoyed this semester. I've enjoyed all of your hard work, and I look forward to jumping into our last week, week 8. Thanks, and have a great day.